Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, if I'm not mistaken, we stopped with Trapped in the Typewriter, which was weird. Don't really know what was going on with that one. But next up is Professor William Wordsworth's Collection of Curiosities. What if I can pull off reading that whole entry like that? Well, it's Euclid, so I don't have to do the serious Keter voice. Owing to the immobile nature of SCP-257, Site-93 has been erected outside of 257. Access to the interior of 257 is restricted to Level 2 containment and recovery personnel and above. Motion-detecting video cameras have been set up throughout the SCP-257's exhibits to monitor any new biological specimens that appear. All biological specimens extracted from 257 are to be examined, logged, and removed from 257. Biological specimens are to be placed in one of Site-93's temporary holding pens for study and threat classification. I'm pretty sure I just went off the rails of whatever voice it was I was using before, but let's just go with it. If researchers identify specimens they deem worthy of further research, personnel are to fill out Form 257-12 and follow appropriate research protocols. Specimens are otherwise sent to Biosite-29 for storage and long-term care. SCP-257 is an abandoned zoological garden and park located in blank United Kingdom. The zoo itself, described as a collection of curiosities, is named for a William Wordsworth, billed as the greatest explorer and naturalist this side of reality 12/3.4. Let's just call it 12 Pi. According to the promotional materials found within 257, the zoo was founded in 1899 to educate the gentlemen and ladies of England about nature and the many strange beasts encountered by explorers on their travels. No permits, building licenses, or planning permissions have been found that correspond to the location or appearance of the 257. Several signs and notices indicate that the zoo has been temporarily closed for maintenance, but the dilapidated appearance of the park and outdated equipment suggests that the park has been abandoned for at least 50 years. 50 years. 50 years. At irregular intervals, animals will appear within the zoo's confines through an unknown manner. These animals appear in the various enclosures at random intervals. Simultaneously, a handwritten manual appears at the entrance of the zoo inside the ticket booth. These guides detail the proper care and feeding of each organism, and sometimes reveal information about its origin and acquisition. The animals vary widely in appearance, behavior, and classification. Many do not appear to be related to any terrestrial animals. There does not appear to be any schedule as to when these animals are delivered. See Acquisition Log W-257 for a complete list of animals delivered in the past blank years. On blankety blank blank, the following typewritten note was discovered pinned to the entrance of 257 along with a guide. From the desk of Professor William Wordsworth, explorer and naturalist. To the esteemed gentlemen and zoological enthusiasts of the Special Containment Procedure Foundation. As you are no doubt aware by now, I have decided to entrust you with my zoo, and my collection of rare and exotic animals while I take a leave of absence. You are straight-thinking and responsible men of science, and you will no doubt be able to look after them. After my travels through Redacted, I have decided to visit the 13th moon of Venuis as the next stop on my safari. Naturalists and learned men such as yourselves will no doubt enjoy studying some of the splendid and vital creatures that I've discovered here. The viewing public will appreciate the new additions to my collection. They're like nothing I've ever seen. Cannot write much longer. My indigenous guides and I will be up early tomorrow morning to check the traps. Keep up the good work. Regards, Professor William Wordsworth. Okay, so Elephaspe, unknown, possibly E. antiquus. 5 miniature elephants, approximately 3 feet high. Guide states that I encountered these splendid animals while I did a tour of the Mediterranean. Retained briefly by Dr. Blank for study, genetic link ascertains a relation to the modern African elephant. Let's see. A large Okay, so I feel like I don't need to read all of these, but if anybody wants me to go back and read all of these, let me know, and I guess I will? Just remind me which SCP it was, because I will forget very quickly. Next up is the Weeping Frog. I'm gonna say... safe? Hey, that's terrifying. Okay, so... SCP-258 is to be kept in a standard storage vault with a key card lock to be accessed only on approval from the supervisor of Site-15. Has Site-15 come up yet? I don't know. 258 is to be stored in a 2x2 meter basin, which is to be emptied twice a week by approved disposable dudes. All personnel interacting with 258 are to be rotated no less than twice a month. While using 258 is not directly harmful in any way, all who have utilized it have expressed a desire to do so again, ranging from the wistful to the vehement. All personnel interacting with 258 are to be screened for underlying mental instability. After Incident 258-1, cleaning personnel are to be issued light hazmat suits while interacting with 258. That sounds like that should have updated it to Euclid, but I guess we'll find out if it's actually in there. Okay, so 258 was recovered from blank, Maine, after parents of local school children reported that stories of a sad bouncy frog their children had been spreading were true. Agent F something confirmed the nature of the object, and Foundation personnel replaced it with a replica without incident. 258 appears to be a simple bouncing playground rider, seemingly designed to fit children of elementary school age and shaped like a stylized green frog with rotating handles on either side of its head. 258 has milky white eyes, with what appears to be streams of white paint running down its face as though it were weeping. I guess weeping frog sounds nicer than crying frog, but it could also be a weeping angel. Ha! Numerous attempts have been made to remove this substance from 258. The green paint comes off of normal paint removal techniques, but the white substance, hereafter designated SCP-258-1, cannot. It only fades with time, observed to depend on various factors including length of time utilized and the extent of the emotional burden relieved. What? 258 constantly appears to weep streams of 258-1 at a constant rate of approximately 0.12 liters per hour. When the subject sits on 258, grasps its handles and begins rocking back and forth, they report that a feeling of peace and contentment washes over them. The eyes of the object then begin leaking 258-1 at an accelerated rate, relative to the effect it has on its user's state of mind. Though the substance cannot be removed from 258 once the seat is vacated, it remains in liquid form during use and will drip from the object onto the ground. Testing of this material afterwards has determined it to be a mixture of plain white paint, human tears, and skin secretions of the American bullfrog. How 258 secretes 258-1 is unknown. The direct effect of 258 only lasts for as long as the subject remains seated, though several subjects suffering symptoms of chronic depression have reported a lasting positive effect, resulting from some insight they gained while riding 258. Repeated use of 258 by a subject has shown to be mildly addictive, and Agent W something had to be restrained and struck before regaining self-control. The result of allowing mentally unstable subjects access to 258 is unknown, pending further testing, though it is likely that any subject suffering from severe depressive symptoms would cause 258 to produce uncontrollable amounts of 258-1. Addendum 258-1. After disposable dude 3354 committed suicide following repeated skin contact with 258-1, the direct effects of contact with the substance were re-examined. Continuous skin contact with the fluid appears to transfer some of the emotions suppressed during use of the SCP, and the prior user was re-evaluated, revealing that she was recovering from data expunged. Okay, so, the frog relieves depression, but if you touch its tears, you gain concentrated depression through your skin, and then do the die by your own hand. Disposable dude indeed. Next up is the Weisenglass Spiral. The Weisenglass Spiral. No, not new tab. It sounded so much more whimsical than it's probably about to be. Let me just take a swig of water before I do this thing. I decided to try out having the microphone like a few inches away from my mouth instead of right next to it like I've been doing. Makes it easier to drink water. So, a single copy of a computer program capable of producing SCP-259 is to be kept on compact disc in the high security containment vault at Site 25. As discs containing SCP-259 are typically destroyed during experimentation, additional copies may be made for approved experiments. Mobile Task Force Gamma-10 remains on standby to collect and neutralize any copies of 259 found outside the Foundation. Unauthorized media containing 259 or the means to produce it are to be destroyed immediately. SCP-259 is a fractal image known as the Weisenglass Spiral. A completed rendering of SCP-259 acts as an Einstein-Rosen bridge, opening a portal to an unknown location. The locations assessed appeared to vary depending on the size and orientation of the rendered image and have included an area filled with superheated plasma, estimated temperature 20 million degrees Kelvin. See Incident K-259-1. An area populated with venomous cockroaches, species unknowns, weighed approximately 2 kilograms. See Incident K-259-2. Deep space, estimated to be redacted kilometers from a black hole. See Experiment X-259-2. An area possibly corresponding to the dimension opened by SCP blank. See Experiment X-259-3. Foundation mathematicians are working on determining why this special fractal has anomalous properties, and whether other similarly anomalous images exist. SCP-508. By O5 order, any image rendering related to 259 and experimentation must take place at least blank meters from inhabited areas. After Incident K-259-1, 41 copies of a CD capable of generating 259 were confiscated from blank.com, and a public warning issued that the CD, labeled 100 Fun Fractals You Can Print, contains a malicious virus that will destroy the user's computer. Blank.com claims to have obtained the disc from a reseller's bankruptcy sale, and the Foundation was unable to trace the original producer. Whether SCP-259 was released accidentally or distributed with knowledge of its anomalous properties is under investigation. Incident K-259-2 makes it clear that 259 is being used with malicious intent. The Foundation is working with global anti-terrorism forces to retrieve 259 from the organization responsible for this incident. Addendum. Incident K-259-1. A residence hall at Blank University was destroyed by explosion/fire on blank 2000-something. Authorities were mystified that conditions at the center of the incident resembled the detonation of a small fusion-based device. Graduate student blank was completely vaporized, as were blank others, including several who left shadows imprinted on the nearest standing walls. Questioning of survivors indicated that blank had gone to his room with a CD he had recently ordered from blank.com to play with some fractals, leading to the eventual discovery of a program capable of rendering 259 for sale on the site. Incident K-259-2, blank 2000-something-10. Image of SCP-259, approximately 10 meters by 10 meters in size, appears on Diamond Vision's screen during soccer game at blank stadium outside blank. Approximately 60,000 people in attendance. Survivors report a large circular anomaly appeared in front of the image and venomous cockroaches poured out from it, attacking anyone they could reach. Approximately blank casualties. Considered a self-containing incident as the insects are unable to survive for more than 2 hours in Earth's atmosphere. The cockroaches average 2 kilograms in weight and correspond to no known terrestrial species. Several live specimens were collected by Foundation mobile task forces and classified as SCP blank. They are currently held at Site blank in a 35% oxygen environment. The blank organization later claimed responsibility for the image. Mass application of amnesiacs necessary to partially suppress public knowledge of this event. Experiment X-259-1. A battery-powered computer was set up in an uninhabited area of the blank desert to render an image of the Isinglass spiral, with remote cameras and sensors set up to monitor the results. Foundation personnel observed at a safe distance. Upon completion of the image, a circular area appeared in front of the computer approximately 1 meter in diameter, emitting a blinding white light followed by a ball of superheated plasma. The plasma dissipated after expanding to an area of blank cubic meters. Given the interference provided by the building in Incident K-259-1, this is consistent with the damage observed. Dr. Blank considers it interesting that SCP-259 took effect without direct human observation. Experiment X-259-2. Experiment X-259-1 recreated, except the size of the rendered fractal was doubled. Upon completion of image, a black portal approximately 3 meters in diameter appeared, and all matter within blank meters was pulled into it. This is consistent with an otherwise unexplained incident in blank, where an apartment building was described by observers as imploding and disappearing, leaving a blank meter deep hole. Experiment X-259-3. Generation of an inverted version of 259. Data expunged and area quarantined pending containment of multiple examples of SCP blank. Okay, so I guess it's Keter because they don't know how many of them are out there. But it also sounds really dangerous, which is probably another reason why it's Keter. The danger would make it Keter by my understanding of these ratings, but the fact that there's who knows how many of them out there is what makes it Keter by the way the Foundation rates things, I suppose. And now it's time for the tracking stone, which can't possibly be terrible, right? Well, it's Euclid. SCP-256 What? 260s? Current location and target are to be tracked by Foundation personnel. The current target is to be relocated between blankety and blank blank due to the nature of the intervening terrain whenever 260 approaches its vicinity. Okay. 260 appears to be a small clastic rock whose exact composition is unknown, and I'm gonna stop you right there and find out what clastic means. It means denoting rocks composed of broken pieces of other rocks. Older rocks. Okay, so it's a rock made of rocks, except old. It possesses phenocryst-like formations that identify it as a form of igneous breccia. There's gonna be so many words in this that I'm not gonna know, isn't there? On one of the larger and smoother portions of the surface is inscribed the name of a human, transliterated into Cyrillic, which changes over time at well-defined intervals. 260 maintains continuous motion along a geodesic across all objects that stand between it and the individual currently named on the stone, hereafter the target. Its speed in a vacuum across a frictionless surface has been estimated at approximately 1.22 centimeters per second, but it usually moves much slower than this due to atmospheric and surface friction. An accurate estimate is impossible, as 260 is known to stick to the surface of whatever object it is currently located on, preventing its deposition in pure vacuum. Okay. A deposition in a pure vacuum. So I guess it's just it sticks to a wall or something. 260 does not experience noticeable effects from erosion by the objects that it moves across. Tests have demonstrated that the stone possesses extremely high compressive and elastic strength, surpassing pressures exerted on it by gunfire and tension presses. Due to the stone's continuous motion, serious experimentation for thermal or chemical sensitivity has not been conducted. However, it is doubtful that such experimentation would be successful, as the stone's composition suggests that it has already experienced high temperature conditions. Upon surface contact with the target, all attempts to remove or relocate either the target or the SCP become futile. 260 begins to burrow into the target's body in the direction of the chest at a speed of approximately 0.5 centimeters per second. All organs along the SCP's path are pulverized. As soon as the target's vital signs cease, the stone immediately exits the body via the shortest route, whereupon the name of a new target appears on the same space as the previous name, and recommences motion. Typically, the new target is the person closest to the stone at the time at which it exits the body, but some variations have occurred. Consult the addendum for further information. Okay. Scenario 1. Lured into a cubic concrete cell and locked inside. Result. Upon reaching the edge of the floor and climbing halfway up the wall, it ceased motion. Observers described it as flickering for several seconds between its natural coloration and a photographic negative, after which it vanished. The current target expired shortly thereafter. An autopsy revealed the stone's presence in the target's chest, having punctured the aorta and pulmonary artery. Several seconds after discovery, the name of Dr. Blank, who performed the autopsy, appeared on the stone, and he was immediately evacuated to a more secure location. Scenario 2. Lured into a hollow, open-ended rotational cylinder mounted on a fixed stand, hereafter referred to as gerbil wheel, with its current target placed outside the cylinder, with the aim of allowing the SCP to continue its motion while simultaneously retarding it with minimal effort. Result: after 57 hours and 22 minutes, 260 ceased motion. Events that followed match very closely to the results of Scenario 1. An autopsy was not performed, and observation of the corpse was ordered for the following 72 hours. Complaints about the deceased ensued. 9 hours into the observation, perforations were first observed in the corpse's chest, followed by the full emergence of 260 over the following hour. After remaining still for 47 minutes, the SCP began moving towards one of the observers, who was moved to another room for continued study. Note 1. This appeared to be normal behavior for the stone when it is not removed from the target following death. Other experiments confirmed that penetration of a wood coffin and a 1.8 meters of soil requires a little more than 72 hours. Note 2. Due to the failure of this method of containment, it is not recommended that 260 be utilized as a power source. Scenario 3. It was lured to a hollow, transparent, smooth plastic sphere hereafter named Hamster Ball. Result: 260 was prevented from climbing walls and deterred from teleportation. Target motion allowed the SCP to negotiate around various obstacles and did not prevent it from beginning penetration once the hamster ball achieved physical contact with the target. At this point, target panicked and attempted to leave the premises and was detained and terminated by Foundation agents. 260 flickered as before, but immediately targeted Agent Blank, who had first shot the target and changed motion accordingly. Agent Blank was removed from the vicinity and the hamster ball was destroyed by gunfire. 260 was unharmed. Note: Prior to the target's termination, the hamster ball containing 260 fell over the edge of an embankment during its pursuit. Observers noted that the ball fell normally rather than gripping the wall and maintaining its speed as 260 usually does, and retained its momentum at the bottom, causing 260 to follow the target at much higher speeds. Agent Blank has been relieved of his duties and is currently subject to transportation between sites off the coast of Asia and North America in order to keep 260 on a geodesic on the floor of the Pacific Ocean that runs through Challenger Deep. Okay, so, So this is a rock that just follows and kills people for no apparent reason, and they don't know where it came from. It doesn't even sound like they're trying to figure out where it came from, they just know that it's a rock that chases people and then murders them. Alrighty then. Pan-dimensional vending. I feel like this is not going to be a vending machine. It's a vending machine. Okay. It's a safe vending machine. Or is it? Any access to 261 must be approved by staff with level 2 security clearance or higher. Any and all items dispensed by 261 must be recorded, along with the amount of money entered and the amount of time elapsed between uses. Currently, 261 may be used only 10 times in a 24-hour period, with no transaction exceeding the equivalent of 500 Japanese yen. Testing approved by Site Command is not under these restrictions. Items dispensed by 261 should be reviewed by site health and safety officials before consumption. Failure to do so releases the Foundation from any obligation regarding negative effects. Items deemed dangerous or useful to research will be confiscated by site security, with financial compensation provided in proportion to the money spent. Okay. SCP-261 appears to be a large black vending machine with no front glass panel and a small keypad on the right side. SCP-261 was recovered in Yokohama, Japan. 261 was brought to the Foundation's attention after an investigation of an urban legend about a magic vending machine that was circulating on the internet. 261 was found in a back alley behind a large shopping center with a handwritten sign saying "out of order" in Japanese taped to it. 261 has no marks of identification of any kind, and no locals remember when or how it came to be in its current location. Internally, 261 appears to be a basic vending machine equipped to vend food and beverage items. After a key was made and the front door opened, no abnormal materials were found, and it was determined that 261 has never actually contained any food or beverage items. The keypad, while connected and operating correctly, does not activate any of the dispensing mechanisms. When money is placed into the 261 and a 3-digit number is entered on the keypad, 261 will vend a random item. 261 has not accepted any currency other than yen, with the rejected currency being deposited in the coin return slot. It is unknown how these items appear. However, 261 will not operate when the door is open or when recording devices are placed inside. The number entered on the keypad has no effect on the item vended, nor has any pattern been detected. Items are always some form of snack food and typically have bright, attention-grabbing packaging. SCP-261 is capable of operating with no external power supply, but operation in this state will cause unstable vending to occur much more quickly than normal. If 261 is used several times in a short period of time and/or large amounts of money are entered before an item is vended, 261 will start to dispense bizarre items. While still food, their suitability for human consumption is often non-existent. Log of items vended during testing phase 8. 800 yen entered for each item, items being dispensed every 2 minutes. 261 is attached to power. Coke Zero, a can of Diet Coke, packaging in English. Cheetos, a small bag of Cheeto snack food, packaging in English. Black, a single pack of caffeinated chewing gum, packaging in Japanese. Yan Yan, a single Yan Yan cone with peach dipping frosting, packaged in Japan. The Meija Saika company does not produce this flavor. Pepsi Dragon Twist, a can of Pepsi Cola with a trace of fruit flavor, packaging in English. Flavor identified as dragon fruit. PepsiCo does not produce this product. Dark Side Cola, a can with clear plastic sides, packaging in Japanese. Liquid inside is clear. When opened, liquid appears to react to the air and changes to dark black over a period of several seconds. The black coloration looks like billowing smoke and cannot be reversed. Liquid's taste described as cola with something spicy in it. The Little Bakery 7 Grain, a small tube the size of a candy bar with a green button, made of aluminum, packaging in English. When the top is twisted off, a massive dough is extruded. Dough contains several enzymes and bacteria that have not yet been identified. On contact with air, these cause the dough to rise and bake, killing the microbes in the process. Produces a small round loaf of bread weighing 250 grams. Taste described as good but chewy. Lemon clams? Thick plastic baggie with a plastic tube on the side containing water and 12 clams, packaging in Dutch. Following on-package instructions, the plastic tube was cracked like a glow stick. Liquid in the bag flashed to steam, venting up from a hole that popped open in the top of the bag, slightly burning one researcher. Steaming finished after 38 seconds, after which clams were found to be fully cooked and infused with a mild lemon flavor. On investigation, clams matched no recorded species. Diet Ghost. A can containing an instance of SCP-2107. Packaging was in English. Testing done on this instance provided similar results to other contained instances of 2107. This marks the first time 261 has vented another SCP object. Unknown. Small mesh bag filled with small multicolored pyramids, packaging in an unknown language. Pyramid found to be very hard and unpleasant tasting compared to chalk in taste and consistency. When placed in hot water, the pyramids open and produce strings that quickly dissolve, coloring the water the same shade as the pyramid. Water had no additional taste, but testing revealed a sharp increase in mineral, carbohydrate, and protein content, with several minerals unidentified at the present time. Its content was found to be consistent with the recommended daily intake of nutrients for adult humans. Researcher ingesting the water reported stomach cramps 2 hours later, but no other effects. Unknown. Aluminum box with a small glass window on the side and a large round button on the top, packaging in an unknown language. The box is seamless and appears to be filled with small round animals covered in fur, each with 3 small paws and a single large eye. Pressing the button causes the inside of the box to rapidly become superheated, cooking the small animals alive. Muffled noises and scratching were heard for several seconds during the cooking process. After 1 minute and 30 seconds, the front panel opens and gives access to the now cooked animals. Professor Kane volunteered to eat the animals, with no other researchers willing to do so. Taste described as crunchy and very spicy with a small hint of beef. Is Professor Kane the one that's a dog, or is Professor Kane just insane? Unknown. Tall, thin aluminum can packaging in an unknown language. Opening the can caused a chemical reaction with the liquid inside the can. Liquid was apparently not intended for an oxygenated atmosphere and detonated violently, causing several injuries and killing 2 researchers. Testing discontinued and area cleared. Testing area observed to smell like citrus for several days. Note, subsequent testing recorded in experiment log 261 ad D. How much is there? Oh jeez! There's a lot of that! Wow. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but it sounds like it's probably really interesting. Let's see. Next up, there's a coat of many arms, cache or ash, skeleton temple, black Volga. I think I may actually end this episode early. Instead of having it last like 40 minutes like I usually do, I think I'm just going to end it here. And we'll hit up that coat of many arms, cache or ash, skeleton temple, and black Volga at the very least in the next one. So, this has been Renashu Sasuke. This is episode 64 of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. If you liked it, a like and a subscribe would be groovy. If you didn't, you don't have to do either one of those things. So I will see y'all in the next one. Later.